Lots to get to today. Yes. Oh my goodness. 911 call and a divorce attorney. You're not going to want to miss today's recaps. So today I am just sitting here crocheting. Yeah, I have not diamond painted in at least a week. And I'm starting to Jones already. I want to start the event. I'm trying to wait till our event starts and then I'll start diamond painting. If you want to know all about the event, come to my live tonight. That is at 7 p.m. Central. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. So today I'm going to be doing a recap of what occurred in the Black Swan murder case. This is the state of Florida versus Ashley Benefield. She is charged with second-degree murder of her husband, Doug Benefield, who was 30 years older than her, but she was trying to pull some fast ones on him. Does that show you which way I'm leaning so far? Yeah. After what I heard this morning, oh my goodness. So I'm going to start with what occurred yesterday after lunch. So the first thing we hear is the 911 call that was made by her neighbor. Now, I'm going to play that for you. But before we get there, he said he was in his house and he heard this loud banging. And he thought, maybe it's some neighbor kids, somebody playing a prank. But so he just kind of brushed it off because he looked out the door. He didn't see anything. So then he hears it again. And now he thinks, oh my God, is somebody trying to break into my house? So he goes and looks out the door one more time because his plan was he was going to call because he thought 911 because he thought somebody was breaking in his house. And he sees Ashley Benefield sitting there in front of the door. And even before that, because he thought somebody was trying to break in, I forget that we're living in a Republican country over there. Did I mention the west coast of Florida? Very Republican. Anyway, he goes to get his gun out of his bedroom closet. So he goes and gets his gun. When he sees that it's hers out of the window, he sets the gun down. He opens the door and he's like, come on in, because she's like, I just shot my husband. Is that what she said? She said, he's attacking me and I shot him. So he's like, come on in. Now the gun she had set down next to the doorway. So he's like, I can't leave that out there. So he said he picked it up by the trigger guard and brought it because he didn't want to destroy any evidence. So he realizes that this is not a good situation. He brings that in. He's trying to calm her down. And then he calls 911. So here is the phone call from 911.
Hello, sir. My name is Judge White. I'm going to be presiding over this case. I've been told, sir, that you may need some assisted listening devices.
It might help.
All right. Certainly, here's a pair that you can use.
Put that on. Just keep this facing forward. You should be good.
As you see, you might have to turn them around the other way.
This way?
Yes, sir. I think that'll work better. And the deputy will show you how to adjust it. Oh, did I scare you? Too loud? Okay, sorry about that.
There's the volume control.
Okay.
Just make sure to keep it forward.
All right, sir. Does that help?
Yes, sir.
All right.
That's
I
fine.
apologize about that. I didn't mean to.
No, that's all right. It's okay.
Sir, my name is Judge White. I'm presiding over this case. Just make yourself comfortable in that seat. Get about 12 to 15 inches from that microphone. It does adjust up, down, left, or right as you need it. Just speak in a loud, clear voice right into that microphone and we'll be able to hear everything.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Hi,
Please state your name.
John William Sant Jr.,
How do you spell Sant?
S-A-N-T,
Where do you live?
in 11327 White Rock Terrace in Bradenton.
Okay. And did you live next door to Ashley Benefield and her mother, Alicia Byers?
I did.
Do you still live at that same address?
I do.
Do they still live at the same address?
No.
Okay. Did Ashley have a child when you lived next to each other?
She did.
About how old was the child last time you were together?
At the house, in the neighborhood,
When they were living in the neighborhood?
I'd say 18 months to 2 years.
Okay. And do you remember a day when Ashley came to your house?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember what day of the week that was?
It was on a Sunday.
And what time of day was it? Light out, dark out?
It was still light, but it was probably early evening. It was between football games.
Okay, so it was between the football games on a Sunday?
Right.
All right. Still light out? What do you remember about Ashley coming over?
From the very beginning.
Right.
Well, I heard a very loud pounding on my door, and kind of startled me. But it was loud. And I went and I looked out through the little window in the window, and there wasn't anyone there. So I thought, well, went to the back and looked out the back. I even looked out the side and didn't see anybody. And I was thinking, well, one of my grandkids has a friend in that area there. And I thought they might be messing around, but I didn't see anything. So I guess it was a few minutes. Nobody, must be just someone screwing around. And it happened again.
The pounding.
And the pounding happened again, yeah.
I'm having a little trouble here.
All right. Yeah, if we can get you to scoot up a little bit, there you go.
Sorry. What part do you want me to start at again?
Okay, so the pounding started again.
The pounding started for the second time, yes.
Okay, and what did you do then?
At that point, now I'm starting to get a little concerned. Someone's trying to either break in or a home invasion and that. So I went back into my room, went into my closet, and I pulled my weapon out.
Okay. And you say weapon, what kind of weapon was that?
It was a Glock 23 40 cal.
Okay. So you had your own firearm.
Yes, ma'am.
You pulled that out, and what did you do?
I then came from the closet back towards the door and decided at that point, let's look out the door one more time before I load one in and take it to the door. So I just set it down on the little table beside my chair.
So you set the gun down?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I left, and then I went back to the door.
What did you?
And I looked out again, and then that's when I saw I saw a leg sticking out. Someone was sitting on the stoop.
Okay. So you saw a leg. You think someone was sitting?
Well, they were sitting.
Okay. So what'd you do?
Well, then I kind of noticed who the leg belonged to, or I thought I did. And I went and I opened the door.
And did you know who it was when you saw the person?
I assumed who it was when I looked out the window.
When you opened the door, could you see who it was?
Well, by the time I got the door open, she was standing up.
So you saw who it was?
Yes.
And who was it?
It was Ashley.
Okay. And you kind of pointed over that direction. You see her in the room today?
She's over next to Mr. Taylor, yeah.
Stipulate that it's Miss Benefield, Your Honor.
Stipulation to ID.
Yes.
Okay. And what did Ashley say when you opened the door?
As soon as I opened the door, before I could say anything, she said, he attacked me.
And is that all she said?
At that point, I said, who? He said, Doug. He attacked me, and I shot him.
Okay. Is that all she said to you?
That's all she said.
Did she have a weapon with her?
I didn't see it at that point.
Did you see a weapon eventually?
Eventually,
Where was that weapon?
it was laying down just to the right of my door where I couldn't see it, where I was standing at that point.
And when did you see that weapon?
Well, after she said, and I shot him, I said, well, then you better come in. And I moved to the left to let her in, and that's when I noticed it lying there on the ground.
Okay. And what was it?
It was a handgun.
What did you do with that handgun?
Once I got her in the house, I told her, I said, I can't leave that out there. No, I don't know whether she responded or not, but then I went out reached down, picked it up by the trigger guard, brought it back in the house, and set it down inside the door.
Okay. And when you say inside the door, was that on the floor or was there a table?
It was on the floor.
On the floor. So once you brought her into the house, where did you go?
Once I brought the weapon in, I shut the door and locked it. And I looked at her and I said, "What condition is Doug in?" And she said, "I don't know." Or she said, "Don't know." She just don't know. I said, "Where's your mother in Emerson?" And she said, "At the park."
So you knew her mother and you knew Emerson, her daughter?
Yes,
Okay. And she said at the park?
at the park.
And at some point during this conversation when she was at your house, did she tell you that that gun was hers?
After listening to the tapes, I was able to hear her say it, but it was really faint, yeah.
Okay. Did you call 911?
I did
Have you listened to the 911 call?
many times.
Okay. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit number 1. You can take a look at this. What is this?
It's a disc, I guess.
It's a disc.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
The 911 call.
Oh, okay.
And when you listened to this 911 call, was it an accurate representation of your conversation with the person on the other line? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. No. It wasn't me.
Pardon?
Yes, I recognize my own voice.
The state would enter into evidence State's Exhibit 1.
Oh, Judge. We received?
What was Ashley's mood when she was there?
I'm sorry, Ashley's what?
Ashley's mood?
Terrified.
Okay. Was she, do you remember her crying?
I didn't remember her crying until I was listening to those tapes, and then it sounded like she was crying, but she just couldn't get any words out. After that last statement about where her mother and daughter were, that was really the last coherent amount of any words that ever came out of her mouth that I could understand. At that point, it was just stuttering and shaking and sobbing.
Okay. So you did not have any other conversations with her, meaningful conversations with her after that?
No, the rest of the conversation was a 911 operator.
Okay. At this point, I'm going to publish State's Exhibit number 1.
Members of the jury, when physical evidence, documents, photographs, video or audio recordings, and so forth are admitted or received by the court, they may be published to the jury. This means shown to the jury. Depending on the type of evidence, it might be shown to you on the overhead screen, through the sound system, handed out for you to look at, or shown to you. Evidence that is admitted or received by the court will be available to you during your deliberations, and you will have as much time as you need to review and consider the evidence. Members of the jury, you are about to listen to an audio recording. The court instructs you that the recording has been edited to eliminate irrelevant portions that would not add to your understanding of the case. The fact that the recording has been edited should not concern you in any way and must not impact the way you listen to, view, and consider the evidence.
Thank you, Judge.
Finally, you are about to hear a recorded conversation. This recorded conversation is proper evidence, and you may consider it just as any other evidence. You are also going to be furnished a transcript of the recorded conversation. The recording is the evidence, and the transcript is being provided to you only as a guide to help you follow along as you listen to the recording. The transcripts are not evidence of what was actually said or who said it. If you notice any difference between what you hear on the recording and what you read in the transcript, you must rely on what you hear and not what you have read. Also, Any notes that you want to make during the playing of the audio should be on your notepads. Once we have played this audio for you, the transcript, as I said, is not evidence. You will not be allowed to keep the transcript, and the transcript will not go back with you during your deliberations. But the audio recording will be available. So you just take one and pass it down. Help yourself, sir. Yeah, if you want some water. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Manatee County 911, what is the address of your emergency?
Hi, my address is 11327 White Rock Terrace.
Okay, can you repeat that for me to make sure I have it correctly?
The house next door, honey, what's your address? Okay, it's right next door to me. She just came over. Her strange husband attacked her, and she says she shot him. Now, we've not gone over there yet.
Okay, what's his name?
Who?
What is his name?
His name is Doug Benefield.
Okay.
I have not gone over there. I'm not
Okay,
going to go back.
I don't want you to go over there. Stay on the line just one moment. I'm going to connect you over to the sheriff's dispatch, okay?
Okay.
One moment.
Calm down, honey. Calm down.
What is your name, sir?
My name's John Sant. KMT. I live next to
Service dispatch on a recorded line. This is Gabby. How can I help you? Hey, Gabby, it's Karen. On the 11327, I have John Singer on the phone. He's saying the neighbor came over, female neighbor. It was a domestic. She shot her husband.
Okay. All right, I'm going to get that on the screen, okay?
Okay.
Which screen is her at?
The 11327 White Rock Terrace.
Okay.
That's my address.
That's your address? What's her address? Where this occurred at?
Her address is right next to, I believe it's 11331.
She's on the corner?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, on the
Okay.
corner. She's with me now, quite upset. The weapon is here. Do you
Yeah.
want me to go over and look at anything, or just wait for the...
No, I want you to just wait for the police, okay?
All right, if you could just get them here quick. She came in, she was quite hysterical. I didn't know who was banging on my door. Said that he attacked her, and she shot him.
Okay. I'm just getting that all on the screen, okay?
Okay. I know, honey. Calm down. I know. Go ahead, ma'am.
Where is the gun? Is it with her, or is it just...
I have it right here, ma'am. It's sitting on the floor inside the door. My door's locked, so in case he isn't, he can't get up. I'm also armed if he does come over and try to harm her, just so everybody knows.
Okay.
I'm kind of concerned with her mother and the little girl might get back there and find this whatever happened. Don't go out there, honey. Come on. I know. Come on, honey. Sit down. Sit down. I know.
Yeah. All right, I just want you guys to stay on the phone with me, okay?
No, I'm right here with you. I'm just with her. I'm trying to comfort her. We're in the house. Or the police are going to want, no problem. I know, baby. You got to sit down. Come on. There's no... Well, honey, they want you to stay here. If he isn't, we can't take a chance. That's why I want them to hurry up before
The
they get back from the park.
deputies are moving as fast as their hand. They're coming priority. They're coming lights and sirens. They just want to get and make sure that everything's okay. I want to... So where in the house is he?
Where in the house is he? Her bedroom. No, I don't know where that is. So it's one of the bedrooms. It's a lot like mine, so I'm going to assume when you go into the... Is the garage door open? When you go into the garage, it's going to be on the left? On the left.
Okay. Okay. All right, I'm just getting that typed up, okay?
What, ma'am?
I'm just getting everything on the screen, okay?
Okay.
I should have
Okay,
Deputy pulling up here soon. Do you see him?
No, I'm in the back now looking out. I know which way the park is in Central Park here.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Okay, the sheriff's here. Thank heavens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you
The
want?
sheriff's car just pulled.
Yeah, they
What do you
just
want
pulled
us
up to
to
the
do?
other address. I'm going to stay on the line with you until a deputy gets with you, okay?
Okay. Okay, the sheriff is here. I'm not too sure where they're going.
I'm just staying on the line with you. The deputies.
I'm right here. I haven't left yet.
Yeah.
I just see it's a SUV sitting out there in front of my neighbor's house, right in front of my house. Just to calm, you know, they're going to take you into custody. You know that, right? Okay, just you know, you just calm down and just calm. Okay. I know.
Okay. You just let me know when they come knock on your door, okay?
Are they coming now, the police?
They will. They're waiting for a little bit of
Okay.
additional units. They want to have everything.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm glad that, geez, we got to get a hold of, don't go out. Until this police officer comes and look.
They're going to let me know what they want me to tell you, okay? They're just waiting to make sure that they have other people with them. They don't want anything to get out of hand without having proper backup, you know?
Yeah. Well, like I said, the weapon's here.
Mm-hmm.
I just want them to know that exactly where it's just sitting right inside the door. It's on the floor. And I did reach out when she ran in and picked it up off my front patio and brought it in. I wasn't going to leave it outside.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another police officer.
Is it just inside the front door or the back door?
Say that again?
Is it just inside the front door or like the back door patio area?
I'm by the front door. She came in the front. I'm sitting here staring at an officer right now.
Okay.
Looks like he's talking to one of the other cars. Neither one of them are moving.
Yeah. I'll let you know when it's time when to come out, okay?
Okay. Hey, is that your weapon or his? Okay. Okay. That's why. Let me get my... Okay, just calm down, hon.
Okay. Now, the deputies want her to go outside with her hands up, nothing in them. Okay?
You want her to go out?
Yes. They want her to come out with not...
Out of my house?
Yes.
Does he know she's in my house?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right, so you're going to have to go out, okay?
And they want you to stay inside.
Now,
Okay.
put your hands where he can see them, okay? All right? Where's she at?
Just start walking out front. They're outside.
I don't see him anywhere. She sure it isn't her.
Just start walking out. They're not going to do anything. They just want to make sure that everything's safe and that they're safe, okay?
Can I take her out? She's really upset.
No, they want you to stay inside. It says female
Want me
only.
to stay inside on your hand? I don't see it. Now, are they at the right house?
We've told them multiple times which house to be at.
Yeah, 11327. I'm right in front of that SUV that does not have its light. Hold up right there, honey. Where are they at? There's a police officer over on the, with the flashing. Okay, one of them sees her now.
Yeah, just keep her walking out. Okay?
Honey, do they see you?
They're probably giving her instructions, okay?
Okay. Now, I need a police officer to come and get this weapon.
Yeah, they're going to come and get the weapon. They just wanted to make
Okay,
sure.
here they come now. Oh.
So, yeah. So he was asked, did she appear how did she appear? And he says she appeared terrified. She was stuttering, shaking, sobbing. He says, after she said, he attacked me and I shot him, everything she said after that kind of didn't make sense to him. So then, we heard from the 911 call. She's asked to come out with your hands up, and she does. And she is put into the back of a patrol car, not under arrest, but just put back there, detained, so to speak. Then we heard the next witness was from a Manatee County Sheriff's Office. So hearing that this is Manatee County, I now know that this is north of Tampa, because Tampa's the Hillsborough. So this is north of Tampa, Bradenton, on your way up into the Panhandle area. So his job was patrol. He was the first officer on the scene. And one of the things he did, because EMS also was a first responder, they went in to find Doug Benefield, but and tried to save his life. But he also asked EMS to check out Ashley Benefield for any injuries. Smart man. He was asked on cross-examination, did she appear hysterical? He goes, no, there was no hysteria. She wasn't showing any hysteria. She said, then he was asked, well, was she in shock? And he says, no, she wasn't in shock. He said, she was upset. She was crying, but she wasn't, hysterical or in shock. He didn't, and he did say he has experience with people that are in shock. So he knows what he's talking about. Then on cross, he was asked by the defense about another report that he made where he responded to the same address for a trespasser. He didn't have any recollection of it. When he was shown the report, he said, I don't recall this. It doesn't refresh my memory. And we have a glitch in our reporting system where sometimes the wrong officer's name is put on a report. So put that one to bed. Because I think where he was going with that was this allegation that he was somehow stalking her and trespassing and watching her from somebody's backyard, that kind of thing. So then the next officer is with the Major Crimes Division. He's a detective. And he said that he went into the house. There was a man in the bedroom who was shot in the chest and the legs. Actually, Doug wasn't in the bedroom when he got there. When EMS got there, I guess the room was empty because they were moving out. So I guess there still wasn't enough room. I don't know. So they drug him out to the living room to work on him. And he was in full cardiac arrest. Like they were doing CPR and everything on him. So this guy, I guess maybe he was still in the bedroom because he says he packed the wounds and after that EMS arrived. Okay, so he did say that. So then after EMS gets there, he starts taking pictures of the victim. And those pictures were shown to the jury. And during that time, Ashley Benefield, she's got her eyes closed. She don't want to look. She's not looking. So then after that, he looked for shell casings. He found 4 spent shell casings and 1 projectile. So that means she fired the gun at least 5 times. Yeah. Anyway, or 4 times, 4 times, something like that. She didn't stop firing. So then we hear from another detective whose job it was to go collect the firearm from her neighbor's house. He took the magazine out. He said there was 1 live round in the chamber, but he didn't take that out. He just took the magazine out. So then we hear from a crime scene investigator whose job it was to photograph for identification and injury the defendant. So she gets called over to photograph the defendant from the front, from the side. You know, those lovely pictures they always take when you go into the. She wasn't under arrest. This is just for identification. And so we know who is the one that shot the gun. She doesn't get arrested for several weeks after this. And to make sure she didn't have any injuries. So she said, I didn't see any injuries on her face. And you can see the pictures. Of course, the defense argued that those pictures don't accurately reflect the injuries. She took pictures, and she kept her modesty. Like they took pictures of something that was below her breast on her abdomen, like a little scratch. She said she had redness on her right forearm, slight discoloration on the back of her left leg, and that's it. Yeah. But she took one additional picture because there was an attorney in the room. Ashley Benefield lawyered up right away. She had an attorney in the room, said, I see redness on her right ear. So she takes a picture of the right ear. You don't see any redness in the picture. Anyway. So, and she said, I didn't notice it, but since the attorney pointed it out, I took a picture of it. Then there were scratches. I told you about the scratches below one of her breasts, and then on one of her hips, there were some scratches. So this crime scene investigator swabbed her hands and forearms and wrists for DNA. And we're going to hear later on if any of that came back to Doug Benefield. Although, I don't know what that proves or disproves. I don't know. Then we hear from a second crime scene investigator, and she is the one that actually took possession of the gun from the neighbor's house. The first guy went over and got it from the neighbor's house. She got it from the detective that retrieved it from the neighbor's house, because she has to put it into evidence and do all these markings and stuff like that. But she said, yes, there was one live round in the chamber and 3 in the magazine. Now, I don't know how many this gun held. It was a .45 caliber gun. So after that, she was in charge of taking photographs all over the house. So those were shown to the jury. And this is all once they received their search warrant. So they also found on this search a 9mm weapon. And we do hear through her attorney and various witnesses that she did own 2 guns. So this same crime scene investigator was called back a few days later to photograph Ashley again for follow-up of injuries. And all you could see on those photos was some scratches, and they didn't look very serious on the photos. And the CSI said, no, they were red. You can't see that in the photos, but I'm telling you, it was a red scratch. But no, this is a few days later. So if she was really injured, you'd expect to see bruising, something. No, nothing. Okay. So that's the end of day 1. And they ended kind of early. Not, he didn't keep them a long time, day 1. So day 2, they started at 9:00 this morning. And Ashley is out on bond, clearly. She walked through the main door with her attorney. Now, today she's got her hair down, long and flowing. She's wearing, again, a nice cardigan. This one's not button up, or it's a sweater cardigan. And it's a pale green color. And then she's got like a vanilla colored button down shirt, with a collar underneath it. And the same little earrings and, very subtle makeup. And her headphones match her outfit perfectly now, which prompted me, I need to go back and see if she had headphones that matched yesterday's outfit, because I'm curious, and we'll wait and see what happens tomorrow. But that's just kind of weird, because she puts on headphones every time there's a sidebar, so she can hear what's being said, sidebar. Now, these could be the cheapo headphones from the court. I don't know, but they match her outfit perfectly. So the first person on the stand was her mom. Alyssa Byers takes the stand. Now, the next few witnesses totally confused the long crime chat people. They were like, what is going on? I'm going to tell you. Because there was very little evidence from these next two witnesses who were clearly hostile witnesses. They did not want to be there testifying against Ashley Benefield. Of course, her mom doesn't want to testify against her. So she said that, yes, Ashley moved to Florida. And then she, at the end of the question, yeah, she moved to Florida. She slid in there that Doug dropped her off and said, take care of her. And that's exactly how she said it. But like, she probably shouldn't have said that, but she's trying to make Doug sound like a bad guy. Take care of her. So she did admit that she did inherit her childhood home up in Maryland, and they had planned to move up there, and that Doug was going as well to Maryland, but to a separate residence. They were not going to be living in the same place. Then she mentioned, he found his dream job. Just kind of slid that one in there too. And then she said her daughter never told her what happened because she was at the park. Remember, she took the child and went to the park. So she said that Doug gets there about 5:00 that afternoon, and she was already on her way to the park when he got there. It's like she was just leaving to go to the park when he pulls up with the U-Haul. Now they've already got a pod in the driveway. He's got a U-Haul. She's off to the park, and she said her usual routine is to take Emerson. By then the baby's about almost 2 years old, so she's going to take Emerson to the park. But she likes to, and she does this several times a week, but she likes to wait till the evening hours when it's cooler. And I'm with you there, sweetie, yeah. But I would say probably wait another hour. Anyway. That was it. That was her testimony. So this, again, like I said, chat very confused. As a, I had to stop and think about it too. Like, that's it. I wanted to hear like what this woman knew about the domestic violence. Of course, all of that will be hearsay, but it's the defendant making the statements. So not sure why we didn't hear that, but I have a theory. So then, second witness, Barbara Russell. This is a psychologist that saw Ashley Benefield in 2020. Now, I was trying to figure out if that was before or after the murder. I think it's before the murder she sees her. She said it was April 2020. And since that time, they just stayed in touch. I guess they became friends. She didn't say that, but she said we stayed in touch. And that actually moved in with this woman after the shooting. And we learned from other witnesses later on that this woman was present at the scene of the murder. She responded. I don't know if Ashley called her and she came over, but she was there. And she also said that she and Ashley have never discussed what happened. Nope. So she said she noticed after the incident that there was swelling on the left side of her face, including her eye. And then she was complaining of pain in her head. And that's it from those two witnesses. Now, here's what I think is going to happen. Ashley Benefield is going to take the stand. She pretty much has to because she's claiming self-defense, and you got to get all that in there. What did he do that was so bad you needed to murder him? And what happened? Because they were the only two people at that scene. So she's got to testify if she's going to maintain this self-defense. So the state kept those first two witnesses under their subpoena. Usually a witness is released after they testify. The state said, no, these women are not released. Once Ashley Benefield testifies, then they're going to bring these women back on rebuttal to talk about what Ashley testified to. Yeah, very curious. Should be very, very interesting. So then the next one was a senior homicide investigator. He's like in charge of this multi-agency task force that investigates homicide. He actually responded to the scene, but he's also a Manatee County sheriff's officer. So he said he was present when Miss Byers was interviewed by DCF. Of course, there was an objection, and he said she was not being very cooperative. So DCF came to this murder scene and was interviewing Miss Byers' mom with the baby. And Barbara Russell was present as well. This is how we found out about her. So then he goes looking for ring camera footage to see if mom really went to the park, and he found it, and she was at the park with the baby. But there was also ring camera on her home where that they were moving out of, where the murder happened. But all it showed was Doug Benefield pulling up in the U-Haul, and then later on the officers arriving, because the murder occurred inside the house. So no ring camera. Sorry, guys, no ring camera. And we didn't get to see the footage of her in the park because it's, we don't need to see it. And then he started to say that Miss Byers, when she got back from the park, initially thought that her daughter was dead. But this was objected to, it was sustained, and the jury's supposed to disregard that statement. Okay. Then this next witness, so interesting. Oh my word. This was the attorney that Doug Benefield hired. She's a family law attorney. He hires her to send Ashley a letter. And the purpose of the letter was to open the door to communication with regard to him attending the baby's birth. And this letter was sent via email at 9:59 a.m. on March 15th. On March 16th, Ashley Benefield checks herself in to Tampa General Hospital and then for induction, and has her baby on March 19th. She never responds to that letter. So, but this attorney, she's a good attorney. She keeps monitoring the court docket to see if maybe there was a response filed with the court. What she finds is that on May 6th, and this is how they discovered that the child had already been born. On May 6th, Ashley Benefield had filed a petition for an injunction. Now, it's a restraining order. They call it an injunction. She wanted a restraining order against him. And this is like 5 to 6 weeks after the baby's been born. And within that motion for a restraining order, it included the information of the baby's name, the baby's birth date. This is how they found out what her name was and that he had missed the birth. And her due date wasn't until April 8th. She has this baby on the 19th, like 3 weeks early. So in response to this motion for an injunction or a restraining order, Doug Benefield's attorney files a petition for a parenting plan. Now, I used to look for it. Everything's changed. The terminology has changed. I used to call it a custody agreement. Okay, now it's called a parenting plan because everybody's co-parenting. So she files a motion for a parenting plan and time sharing. So you don't call it visitation anymore. You call it time sharing. It's like a condo. Like you get it for 1 week, a year. Yeah. Time sharing. Who came up with that? I think it's interesting. So, and he wanted decision-making capacity over his child. So she made allegations in her petition for injunction of that he was violent towards her, that he hit the dog, that he fired a gun into the ceiling, and that he was poisoning her and her unborn baby with heavy metals. So they, after, she said, a very, very contentious litigation, they have a 2-day hearing in front of the judge, family court judge. And on September 17th, the judge rendered her decision. Now, this is a lawyer that is testifying on behalf of her deceased client, Doug Benefield. And she is getting so much, why is that ringing? Sorry. She is getting so much in there, extraneous information in there. Like, she'll answer the question and then she talks some more. And it's driving the defense attorney nuts. So she was asked about the outcome of the hearing, and she said, well, the outcome was that the injunction was denied, and the judge mentioned that there were the judge entered findings of lack of evidence. Oh, the defense attorney is like steam coming out of his ears. And that with respect to the parenting, they put an introductory time sharing schedule into place because he had never met the child, and it was effective immediately. He got to meet the child 2 days later, and he got to have ultimate decision making over any medical decisions, and then joint decision making for everything else. So 2 days later, she meets her client Doug at a predetermined location. He's in his truck. She gets out of her car, gets into the truck because they're early. This is for the visitation, the time sharing. And the child's now 6 months old. This is when he finally gets to meet his baby girl, Emerson. So is that a baby girl or a boy? I don't know. I'm assuming it's a girl. I don't know. I could be... You know what happens when you assume. So, what do you want? Hold on. Sorry. Oh, these alerts. I'm telling you, it's crazy. So, when Ashley pulls up for the visitation, she sees the attorney in the truck with her. She's still married to him, her husband. And she's like, oh, you're dating her now? And he's like, of course not. So he gets out of the truck and he goes over to where Ashley is with the baby. And eventually, they're talking. This is what the attorney is observing. She observes them talking. Eventually, she hands the baby to him. He comes back to the truck and says to the attorney, we're going to go do the visit together. And she is like stunned because they just went through this very contentious litigation. And now they're going to ride off into the sunset with their baby. She said, and she called it, she goes, there were horrendous allegations that were unfounded. Well, now the defense attorney is like wetting his pants. He is so pissed. Sidebar, of course, there were multiple sidebars. To the point where the judge clears the room, sends the jury out of the room so that they can argue. And now this attorney is asking for a limiting instruction. In other words, he wants the judge to tell the jury that the statements that they're hearing her make that are not responsive to the question should be disregarded. But they went back and forth, and the judge would suggest language, and neither one of them would like the language. Or the state would like it, the defense wouldn't like it. So finally, the judge says, all right, I'm making my ruling. I'm not going to give a limiting instruction. If you have another objection, I'll just rule on the objection. Because since you guys can't agree on it, I'm not going to do it. I'm like, okay. Okay. So going back to the visitation, the time sharing, she tells Doug, I wouldn't do that if I were you. She's trying to set you up for something. He does it anyway. So She admitted that this started a time of peace that lasted for 11 months. And within a week of this initial visitation, they both agreed, Doug and Ashley, husband and wife, agreed to increased visitation. So on August 16th of 2019, everything came to a halt. And then after that, he wasn't talking to her anymore. So she was asked, what did she observe in those 9 months? Did she see them together? And she's like, not in person, but they were in the magazines. They were always going to galas and stuff. Okay. Okay. So on August 16th, Doug was supposed to move in with Ashley that day. And the attorney started to say something about his belongings, and she got cut off. So, and they really never got back to that question. So this attorney said ultimately they filed a series of things, including an amended petition for divorce that was filed on November 5th of 2019. Then within a month, Ashley filed a series of complaints against Doug Benefield. We don't know what that involved. They didn't go into it. And she filed for another injunction. And all of this is with the exact same judge who ruled no on the previous injunction. Now, we know the jury doesn't know that this judge didn't find one scintilla of evidence that was credible. Jury hasn't heard that statement. So she was asked about these psychological evaluations. Apparently, they were not court ordered. They were ordered by DCF. Yeah. And so with respect to the injunction, she says it was set for hearing, gets continued multiple times. And it was finally, it was supposed to occur on September 30th. And we know 3 days prior to that, that was a Wednesday, September 30th. On Sunday night, the 27th, Doug is murdered. So she did mention there was a request for mediation. She explained to the jury what mediation is. I didn't hear that they actually had a mediation. So then on cross-examination, she was asked, are you familiar with your ethical obligations as a lawyer? She's like, of course. Are you familiar with the Bar Association rules? It's like, oh dear, he's going for the jugular here. She's like, yeah, but what are you talking about? Your duty to disclose false or inaccurate evidence. She goes, I don't know that that's actually a rule, but yes, I'm aware of something like that. So now we get another sidebar. Then when we come back from the sidebar, judge lets them go for lunch. And I'm thinking, okay, they're going to argue outside the presence of the jury. Nope, everybody goes to lunch. I guess the judge was hungry. That's 11:20 Eastern time. He sends them to lunch, tells them to come back at 12:30. Now we know that there's going to be a doctor testifying this afternoon. I don't know what kind of doctor or what they're testifying about. The kind that sees patients, because so it's not the ME, because the state mentioned that he wanted to know what time he should come because he was still seeing patients. But anyway, so that's it, guys. That was yesterday afternoon and this morning prior to lunch. So I will continue to watch the rest of today. I'll recap that for you tomorrow. Don't forget, again, I am live tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time. And it's just my craft with me Wednesday. I've been doing it for 5 years, every Wednesday for the last 5 years. And I do a different craft each week. So this week I'm going to be crocheting. I want to show you some of my works in progress that you probably haven't seen, stuff I've been doing in other rooms behind the scene. So stay tuned for that. And I'll see y'all later. Have a great day. Bye.